Tyco International, you might not immediately recognize the name, but you've definitely interacted with their products. They were everywhere, from electronics to healthcare to fire safety. At the helm of this massive conglomerate was CEO Dennis Kozlowski, a man who embodied the excesses of the early 2000s. He seemed to have it all: wealth, power, and a tan that could only be described as aggressively artificial. But behind the veneer of success lurked a dark secret, one that would ultimately bring down Kozlowski and his company. This is the story of the Tyco scandal. Remember that $2 million birthday party? Buckle up because it deserves its own segment. This wasn't just any old birthday bash, this was a week-long extravaganza on the Italian island of Sardinia. Think gladiators, chariots, ice sculptures of Michelangelo's David peeing vodka, casual stuff. There was even a performance by Jimmy Buffett. This party became a symbol of corporate excess and the blatant disregard for shareholder money. It was a giant, middle-finger-shaped ice sculpture to corporate responsibility. The scheme was actually quite simple. Inflate the company's earnings on paper, which would boost the stock price. Once the stock price went up, Kozlowski and Swartz would sell their shares at a huge profit. It was a classic pump-and-dump scheme, just on a much grander scale. They used every trick in the book: fake transactions, hidden loans, offshore accounts, you name it, they did it. And for a while, it worked like a charm. Tyco's stock price soared, and Kozlowski and Swartz became Wall Street darlings. But you know the old saying, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Eventually, the house of cards they built began to crumble. Whistleblowers emerged, investigations were launched, and the jig was up. The authorities caught on, and soon Kozlowski and Swartz found themselves facing a very different kind of party, the kind with orange jumpsuits and terrible food. Section 4, The Unraveling of an Empire. The fall from grace was swift and brutal. Kozlowski and Swartz were arrested in 2002 on charges of grand larceny, securities fraud, and a whole host of other white-collar crimes. The trial was a media circus, with lurid details of their lavish spending habits splashed across newspapers worldwide. Prosecutors presented mountains of evidence, including those infamous party photos and receipts for things like $15,000 dog umbrella stands, because even the dog needs to stay dry in style, apparently. The jury didn't buy their excuses. In 2005, Kozlowski and Swartz were both found guilty on multiple counts. Kozlowski was sentenced to 8 to 25 years in prison, while Swartz received a slightly shorter sentence of 8 to 20 years. They were also ordered to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in restitution. Justice, it seemed, had been served. Section 5. The Price of Greed. The Tyco scandal wasn't just about two greedy executives. It was a symptom of a much larger problem, a culture of corporate greed and a lack of accountability that pervaded the business world in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Remember Enron? WorldCom? These scandals weren't isolated incidents, they were all part of the same systemic rot. And Tyco, with its outrageous spending and blatant disregard for the rules, became a poster child for everything that was wrong with corporate America. The impact of their crimes was far-reaching. Tyco, once a Fortune 500 darling, was forced to undergo a massive restructuring. Thousands of employees lost their jobs and investors saw their savings decimated. The company's reputation lay in tatters, a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked greed. The scandal also led to significant changes in corporate governance laws. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 passed in direct response to the Enron and WorldCom scandals, but Tyco definitely got an honorable mention. Strengthened accounting regulations, increased corporate responsibility, and made it much harder for CEOs to get away with this kind of fraud. Section 6. Lessons learned, hopefully. The Tyco scandal serves as a stark reminder that corporate governance matters. Transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership are not optional. They are essential for any business that wants to succeed in the long run. When greed and a lack of oversight are allowed to flourish, the consequences can be devastating. The story of Dennis Kozlowski and Mark Swartz is a cautionary tale, a reminder that no one is above the law, no matter how much money they have or how many $6,000 shower curtains they can afford. The Tyco scandal should serve as a wake-up call for all of us. It's a reminder that we need to hold our leaders accountable, demand transparency, and never stop questioning authority. Because the next time we don't, it could be our pensions, our jobs, or even our entire economy that pays the price. And frankly, I don't think any of us want to see another ice sculpture of Michelangelo's David peeing vodka anytime soon.